If I was Bethesda right now, I'd probably pause everything.
Fallout through the fallout, baby.
Fallout has a bit of a story problem. Story problem, you kind of see it in Starfield, because that was meant to be the big blow-up game, and then it was kind of just space. It's space. But you go back to New Vegas now, it does feel outdated. It does feel slightly outdated, and it does feel like that's where they're gonna try now, because Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 4 was the games what are taking inspiration for the TV show, so it feels like they're gonna go back to that rather than another 76. And I think surely to God they have learned from that mistake. But still, the series feels like the game, as when they're going on this adventure, you do have side quests, and what you do affect different stuff, as it did in the episode with the Romans. Might be a minor spoiler, but I'm not saying what happens, but that felt like a side quest. And when you go through, you meet these NPCs, and it felt like side quests, like things what happen. The problem being, though, is the story. Because you go through a Fallout game, and it feels disconnected for most of your playthrough. And it feels like a lot of people who are going to go to play Fortnite now after the series, they want it slightly a bit more connected. Like a person affects the game environment. So it feels like the story is going to be kind of fractured, and the world will be fractured slightly between the TV show and the game, making you think that the story progression will be bigger and more impactful, but it will be slightly lower. And the fact that now we've had nearly 15 years, probably more, of this gameplay what isn't story focused. It was gameplay-ish focused, not New Vegas or Fallout 3, but Fallout 4 had this weird creative system, and then 76 was this MMO type thing. It feels like Fallout needs a completely different direction where they're going, and it's 10 years out at least. If I was Bethesda right now, I'd probably pause everything and stick to Fallout, because it's such a world. It's such a world that needs to be explored. Skyrim, Oblivion, obviously. The 6th game, I think it will be a letdown. I don't know. Xbox just ruined everything, I swear to God. Bethesda haven't released a good game since being bought by Xbox. I don't know what it does, but I swear it poisoned something in the water. But the story just feels like it's going to be unstructured. Will it have this atmosphere? Has it ever had this atmosphere of the TV show? And can Bethesda do that atmosphere? We're going into this weird modern day of games, and Bethesda, weirdly, has never been at the peak of this new era. They've always been down here now, because Skyrim is an old era game. It's a good game. We saw a remake of Oblivion, but it's all been done. It was a remake. It was a good game. But the world building they've done with Starfield scares the crap out of me. And then we have this kind of one of the best adaptations of a world, of a story that we haven't seen before. And will that kind of push our expectations for the story of Fallout 5? I think it will. I don't think they can live up to that kind of feeling of a Fallout game. And the only way they can probably do that is change how they do the game. That's going back to Fallout 3. Maybe they can do the Fallout 3 or New Vegas. Will they invent their own wheel? No. I think they're going to cause a bit of a problem. I don't think the next game will be this, oh, everyone has to play this. It will kind of be another one of, oh, okay, this is Fallout again then. Unless they do a couple of things, they could change where you're going. Like, we've been to a lot of similar places. Maybe people are happy just going to a new city. But I want a kind of nuclear winter, at least. Kind of a winter feeling of it would be good, because we have been to the desert. And I think New Vegas is kind of like that. New Vegas was a popular thing because we felt like we were in a different environment, and it was a bit more crazier, maybe. It was a bit more crazier. It's just this pinnacle, though, of these video game adaptations, what could start to seep into the story. What would be a good idea? That would be maybe the best idea. You take the stories of the TV show and kind of think, like, we could do that with this character in a completely different environment. Not the same character, but we could take inspiration from it. It feels like the TV shows is pushing the story element a lot. And I love stories in games and the side quests. And we've had games in the past, like Witcher, where side quests are great. And I'm acting like Fallout hasn't had some great side quests, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. But it just feels like now we are in a weird new era of games. And I don't think Bethesda has ever currently released a new game in this environment what has hit yet. And it's been a long time, and it's starting to feel like going to have a problem. Like they're writing for some reason. They're focusing on the story and the writing of Bethesda games for the last 10, 15 years. What is notable? Some people may think Starfield. It's not good. It's boring from gameplay perspective and kind of story. And then Fallout 76, it didn't even have a proper story until updates. And that was probably more rushed than you think because it didn't do well. Then you can go back to 4, what did have problems, and then you can go back to 3. And New Vegas, what was made by a different studio, what also isn't doing good stories. Because Outer Worlds 2 and 1 felt a bit half-baked and it needed to be pushed a bit higher. And New Vegas is good. The things you do in it changed the world and it changed how things happened. It felt exciting. I'm not that far into it, but it did feel, the world felt alive slightly. Taking away the age and the retro feeling of the game, it felt alive. The TV show has pushed that this world is alive, dying, and so exciting. And it has now pushed the Bethesda games higher in story value without even playing them. People rush back to the old games, play a bit of it, and then probably turn it off, like I did in New Vegas because it's quite old. It's that you could remake New Vegas as they did with Oblivion, and Bethesda's now feels like it is going to have a story problem with these games because I don't think it's putting enough focus into the stories. Like Starfield was so like Starfield, you were meant to be like mind blown because you're in space, but you're a space person. You just met other humans, and we were in space. Where was the whole universe of aliens? Even a pop culture type thing. We don't really, a lot of things in space now, we have this system, this whole world, universe of aliens. But in their Starfield game, we had humans interacting with humans. At least Outer Worlds, we have aliens. I'm pretty sure, I can't remember off the top of my head. Surely we have aliens in that game. Even though I do think Fallout could have a story problem, there is so much time. Sadly, maybe a hurdle or two, what could show even which way they're going. But with the TV show, by the time they actually make it, being at like probably season 5, it will be slightly more worrying depending how that goes. Either way, that show could be dead and buried. They could take inspiration from that show. They have a stepping stone. They have inspiration from that show, what could be written into it. And writing matters. Claire Oscar 33 story was great. And Bethesda feels like it has a harder issue because you can't just write the A from like the spider diagram to C and all the different alphabet letters are there as different integral stories. But it does feel like the stories should kind of progress your own story slightly. And I think that will be the slight problem of Bethesda, that it will do the A story and the B story, what could be fun. I do think they're going to let the side stuff kind of slip a bit, even though they have done it perfectly in the show. But will it be boring? Will it be good? Can't blow your thoughts, and I will see you on the next Mumble.